Hola, Year 7. So I hope you're all doing well. This is Miss Howarth, who you've not actually met because I've been off having a baby, but you might have met me at transition. So I'm going to be doing vital phrases with you today, and we're going to do the lesson a bit like we would do it if we were in school together. But what you can do is you can pause the video whenever you need to or want to. If you want a break, if you want to pause it and then go and find some help on the internet and look up what some words mean, if you want to go and ask someone for help, however you want to do it is up to you. And if you want to skip bits or speed up a little bit, take as long as you like, it's up to you. So you go ahead and you can skip this however you want to. So when we're talking about vital phrases, we're talking about words that are really useful in Spanish to learn. And if we know them, we can use them in any situation. Holidays, talking about our school, pets, whatever it is. So they're really good to know. And we're going to start with these ones. You've seen some of these already. So what I want you to do is just take a few minutes now, pause the video and match them up. Give yourself about 5 minutes. If you want to just write the number and the letter, you can do that. Now all of your answers, you can complete them in a Word document and then you can attach it to the assignment on Google Classroom and your teachers will be able to mark it that way, okay? So pause the video now. If you want to, you can do the extension, which is some translations to do there on the right in yellow. Okay, so hopefully you recognise some of the words. Let's find out what the answers are. Mark this yourself now. You don't need to wait for your teachers to mark it because here are the answers. So see if you've got them right, give yourself a mark out of 10. And you can also see what you have put for the extension if you did that. You might have put sentences slightly differently because sometimes there's more than one way to say the same thing. But if it's got that general meaning, then you've done a really good job. So pause the video now if you need to mark it, and we're going to move on. Now we're going to do a little bit of writing, just a few sentences to make sure we're confident with how to use these phrases. So I'm going to give you some points here. I want you to try and get as many points as you can in 10 minutes. If that's quite a long time and you think this is quite easy and you're whizzing through it, you can just do it in 5, okay? So for example, you might say, Mi llamo Señora Howarth, that's my name, and that would get me 1 point. But if I really want to impress and get 2 points, I could join them up and say, Mi llamo Señora Howarth y tengo 30 años. My name's Miss Howarth and I'm 30. You could say, Me gusta el cine porque es fantástico. I like cinema because it's fantastic, and that would get you 2 points. But if you want to join them up to really impress again, you could say Me gusta el cine porque es fantástico y me encanta el fútbol porque es divertido. And I love football because it's fun. And that's going to get me 4 points. So pause the video now, see how many sentences you can use and how many points you can get. You can write these down, and don't forget you can submit these for your teachers to mark. Okay, now you've spent some time doing that, let's move on. And we're just going to spend a few moments quickly revising these. You don't need to write anything down, but I want you to look at the screen now. I'm going to give you some time to see, can you remember all of these? How many of these do you know in Spanish? Pause the video now, then we're going to go through the answers. Okay, let's go through the answers then. So, but is pero, I don't like. We should all know, hopefully, no me gusta. Also, también, I love, me encanta. it is S, E-S, and is E, the letter Y. Because, porque, it isn't, no es, I like, me gusta, I hate, odio. So hopefully you managed to remember lots or even all of those. Let's move on now to a little bit of translation, which is super useful because it comes up in all of your written exams. But it's also an amazing skill to develop when you're trying to communicate with other people. So what I want you to do is have a look at these, pause the video, and you should spend at least 10 minutes writing down A to L what these mean in English. You don't need to write the Spanish, you can just put the English down. So let's do A together. Me gusta jugar al fútbol. What would that mean? We know me gusta means I like. Jugar, we've seen before. Maybe we can't remember it, but look at the rest of the sentence. Al fútbol, what does that look like? It's football, isn't it? So, I like, football. What do we think it is? If you think it's I like to play or I like playing football, then that's right. If you need to look up any of these words, then you can, whilst you're pausing the video, open a new tab on your computer on the internet and look up the word. You can use Google Translate, but a really good one to use is word reference as well. If you type word reference into Google, you will get the website, it'll come up, and that's a really good one to use. So if you want a little bit of an extra challenge at the bottom, you've got some questions to think about. I'm not going to tell you what they mean. Have a think yourself. And again, if you need to look them up on Google or word reference, you can. Now at the bottom there it says use love it. Now you might have done this with your Spanish teacher, but it's probably something you don't have access to at home, so you can just ignore that bit. It just means trying to make the piece of work as amazing in Spanish as possible, so don't worry about that bit. But pause the video now, give these translations a go, then we're going to go through the answers, so no cheating, okay? Really challenge yourself. Let's move on now to the answers. I won't read them all out because you can see them in front of you. So you have a good read through, mark your answers. Now with translation, sometimes there's more than one way to say the same thing. For example, with A, you might have put I like to play football or I like playing football, but it means the same thing, doesn't it? So as long as you've put something that means basically the same thing, then it's right. Another example is for C, you might have put because he's very good looking. Then that's going to be right, isn't it? Because it means basically the same thing as handsome. However, if you put pretty, that's probably not as good a translation because that sounds a little bit odd, doesn't it? To say, I like Justin Bieber, he's pretty. It's not totally wrong, but handsome is probably a better word. So pause the video now, mark it. If you did the extension, the first question is, ¿Te gusta tu colegio? Do you like your school? ¿Por qué sí o no? Why yes or no? So if you wrote an answer for that and you worked out what that meant, well done. Don't forget to add that to your document and submit it to your teacher via the assignment in Google Classroom so we can mark it. And then the second extension is escribe las ventajas y desventajas de tu colegio. So that's right, the advantages and disadvantages of your school. So see if you've done that again, or if you want to pause it and do it now, then send that in for your teacher to mark too. Now we're going to do a little bit of writing again. This is the same as what we did before, but we're extending it with some more interesting and challenging vocabulary. So you can see there on the right, you're going to get 3 points if you can use any of those tricky tenses. You've got the future conditional tense, I would like, me gustaría, fui, I went. And to say to, you would add a, so fui a Francia, I went to France, for example. Fue, it was, voy a ir, I'm going to go. And será, it will be. So if you can use those, even better. Let me give you an example. I might say, me gusta el fútbol. That's got me 1 point. Y juego con mis amigos. And I play with my friends. That's another 2 points, so that's 3 points altogether. I could then make that even better by saying, voy a ir al Camp Nou. I'm going to go to the new camp, which is a Barcelona football stadium. Y será fantástico. So there I've managed to get loads more points. So see how many you can get. Now if you did a lot of writing and tried really hard the first time we did this, then you can just spend a few minutes on this and see if you can do a couple. But pause the video now, and then once you're done, we'll move on. Okay, we're going to go through some more tricky vocab now. Some of it we've already seen quite a few times. Some other bits we've just introduced if you were doing those yellow 3-point ones on the previous activity. And now we're going to really show off with some high-level vocabulary, but don't worry, because all you've got to do now is fill in the vocabulary yourself by filling in the gaps, and it's all in English on the right. So for example, number 1, boy, what does it mean? Equals I, and then we've got G and a gap. So what could that be? If you said I go, then that's right, I go. There's nothing else really there that would make sense, is there? What about number 11? Me gustaría. For number 11, I, W, gap, gap, LD, L, gap, IK, gap. So it's 3 words. What could it be? Oh, and there's actually a little mistake on that one I've just noticed, so sorry about that. For number 11, it's I would like. And look, there's an extra gap that's slipped in there that shouldn't be there. So you can ignore that little gap up between the L and the I. It's I would like. Sorry about that. Okay, so pause the video now, fill in your vocab on your sheet, and there is a little extension to try and use each of these in a phrase. If you want to do that as well, then that's brilliant. Okay, and there are the answers. So you can pause the video again and mark them now. Now, these are quite high level. Some of these we wouldn't learn until you're a bit older, but I'm teaching you them because they're so useful. If you can remember even just some of them, then that's going to be amazing for when you come back to school and amazing for your Spanish learning at home whilst you're at home. Let's move on then. This is multiple choice. So all you have to do, 1 to 10, wherever you're writing your answers down, you've just got to select the correct answer. So for number 1, boy, and we've got 3 options: I will go, I went, or I go. What's the correct translation? It's I go, because we've already seen it, haven't we? If you've forgotten some of these at any point, you can go back in the video, can't you, and look at the vocab to find out, or look back in your notes that you've been writing down. Okay, now actually let's just go through those answers. So if you need to pause the video and do this still, then do that, but I'm going to go through the answers now. Number 1, boy, I go. Number 2, is, would be she is, out of those options, but it's got more than one meaning, hasn't it? Because S can also mean it is. So if number 2 caught you out a little bit, you weren't wrong. It means she is, it is, and he is, okay? Because it's the word is. It can mean all 3 of those things depending on what we're talking about. Number 3, creo que, I think that. 4, me encanta, I love. 5, habrá, there will be. 6, no me gusta, I don't like. And if you've seen for number 4 and number 6, and actually we didn't talk about this earlier, but there's an N, isn't there? And you will have learned, hopefully, but if you've forgotten, don't worry, that when you see an N, with no me gusta, me encanta, no me encanta. And there are a few other phrases in Spanish like that too. That's because when you're talking about more than one thing, you add on the N. So if you're saying me encanta and you want to say las arañas, spiders, you would say me encantan las arañas. Okay, you can't say me encanta las arañas. You have to add the N because you're talking about a plural. Number 7, es is it is. But again, we saw that earlier, it can mean she is or he is as well. Fui. Now, fui means I went, but it can also mean I was. So that's one to watch out for as well. That was a little tricky one too. Number 9 is I, there is. Number 10, sin embargo, however, and that's a really good one to impress people. If you did this translation and the extension, it's I would like to work as a teacher. Me gustaría trabajar como profesor. Or if you want to use the female version, you can say profesora. So that again is me gustaría trabajar como profesora or profesor. Okay, let's move on. If you've got any questions about any of this, don't forget you can ask them to your teachers through Google Classroom and we'll get back to you. Now this is a little bit of a vocab audit, so what you've got to do for this one is just quickly whiz through 1 to 20. What do those things mean in English? What do they mean in English? So we'll quickly go through them. Pause the video now and you can just tell yourself or you can write them down, you can tell someone else. Okay, here are the answers. Voy, I go, or I'm going. Soy, I am. Odio, I hate. Me encanta, I love. Me gusta, I like. No me gusta, I don't like. Es, it is, or he is, or she is, depending on what we're talking about. No es, it isn't, she isn't, he isn't. I, there is, or there are. No hay, there aren't, or there isn't. Me gustaría, I would like. Fui, I went. Será, it will be. Fue, it was. Había, there was. Habrá, there will be. Juego, I play. Hago, I do. Creo que, I think that, or I believe that, and porque, because. So if I went a bit quickly on that, just go back in the video and have another listen. And that's the same for anything else in this lesson, okay? Now, normally we would play this as a game, but sadly we can't do that at the moment. However, what we can do is give these a little go as a translation and you can send them in to impress your teachers, okay? And there's nothing to stop you as well working with a friend from a distance if that's something that you are happy with and your friends are happy with and all your parents are happy with as well, okay? So maybe you can do that working together on Google Classroom, but be safe. Now, let's look at these translations. I would like a sandwich, it was funny. There was a big beach, I think that is boring but useful. There will be a modern school. I would like to be a doctor. In my opinion, it isn't pretty. I do sport every day. I play football with my sister. There was a museum, it was interesting. I hate listening to music. I love going on holiday. What we're going to do now is I want you to translate these using all of these phrases and vocab that we've been looking at today. And if you need to look up any words, then you can of course do that in a new tab. Keep your internet browser open and you can look them up, okay? Remember, you can use Google Translate or Word Reference, but you have seen quite a few of these words this year. So pause the video, translate them into Spanish, and then we'll go through the answers. Right, so top left, I would like a sandwich. You would probably have put me gustaría un bocadillo. Me gustaría un bocadillo. B-O-C-A-D-I-L-L-O. It was funny. Fue gracioso. Fue gracioso. 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 You could have put divertido, which is a word that you might remember from your lessons. That's fine too. There was a big beach. Había una playa grande. Una playa grande. I think that is boring but useful. Creo que es aburrido pero útil. Creo que es aburrido pero útil. You might have put pienso que instead of creo que. That's fine. There will be a modern school. Habrá un colegio moderno. Habrá un colegio moderno. I would like to be a doctor. Me gustaría ser médico. Me gustaría ser médico. You might have put a different word to medico, but that's okay. There's a few ways to say it. In my opinion, it isn't pretty. En mi opinión, no es bonito. En mi opinión, no es bonito. Again, there are a few ways to say pretty. So if you used a different word to bonito, that's okay. I do sport every day. Hago deporte todos los días. Hago deporte todos los días. I play football with my sister. Juego al fútbol con mi hermana. Juego al fútbol con mi hermana. There was a museum. It was interesting. Había un museo. Fue interesante. Había un museo. Fue interesante. I hate listening to music. Odio escuchar música. Odio escuchar música. I love going on holiday. Me encanta ir de vacaciones. Me encanta ir de vacaciones. Vacaciones, holidays, you spell it V-A-C-A-C-I-O-N-E-S. Vacaciones. Brilliant, you've done absolutely amazingly. There's a quick recap of the vocab that we've looked at today. Lots of those useful words, and you can see in yellow the ones that are really extra challenge, amazing phrases to master. And then this is just the last slide, last little thing for our lesson today is there's a bit of vocab here, and it's structured to help you out with how you might write about what you like, what you don't like, what you play, what you do, and where you go. So I want to set you an extra challenge today, which you don't have to do, but might be an amazing thing to do to practice your Spanish, which is to do a little bit of writing, a piece of writing. Aim for about 100 words if you can. That's not as many as it sounds. And see if you can use this to help you. So you've got lots of vocab there, and some of them are not in English as well, but the ones that aren't in English, you can look them up if you aren't sure, but a lot of them are cognates, aren't they? Which means they look similar to what they mean in English anyway. And of course, you don't have to limit yourself to what's on this vocab sheet. So if you want to use other words and talk about other things, of course you can. These are just examples to help you structuring your answer. So if you want to submit an extra piece of writing, that would be absolutely amazing. Now, if any of this has been difficult for you and you found it a little bit too challenging or confusing, or you want a little bit of help, just through Google Classroom, let your teachers know and we can help you with whatever you aren't sure about. Ask us your questions and we'll get back to you, and we'll mark the work that you've done if you submit that to the assignment as well. And just make sure you use the internet sensibly to find out answers for yourself as well. So you can use Google Translate, you can use word reference, and you can go skip forward and backwards in this video to check things, to get some help. And if you want to, you could also open this video in a new tab, so you've got it open twice, so that you can look at different parts of the video at the same time by just switching between them, pausing as you go, so you can use the vocab from one to help you with the other. Okay? Right. It's been really fun teaching this to you today. Hopefully you've learned something that you can take away with you. Have a brilliant rest of the day and a fabulous week. Adios!